Hello, survivors. Welcome to the State of Decay 2 stream. I'm your host, Geoffrey Card, and today we're going to be talking about Update 35, the 35th update since we released State of Decay 2 back in 2018. It's been 5.5 years. It's been a crazy journey, and it is still continuing. Before we get into the details of that, though, I should introduce my guest today. We're not doing this alone. We've brought in an intrepid reporter and YouTuber, Sunny from Sunny Games on YouTube. How you doing?
Happy to be here and really excited to hear all the things coming with Update 35 because it looks like some really cool stuff. I got a little snippet and there's a lot of hype here, so I'm excited for it. Not like insane, but it's really cool stuff. I'm excited to hear Geoffrey talk about it.
Yeah, it is a cute little update that I think people are going to enjoy. And but yeah, I just really wanted to, we really wanted to bring Sunny on here because he has been one of our favorite YouTubers who covers State of Decay 2. We got a lot of good people out there, but he's one of our favorites. His videos are really well produced. You can just hear the dulcet tones of his voice are really relaxing and fun to listen to. And he's full of tons of information, not all of which we even intended to get out. So if you come here looking for State of Decay news and you haven't followed Sunny Games YT on YouTube yet, you absolutely should. And you'll get to know him today, and you'll get to see, what kind of dude he is. And he's going to be actually playing the game with me today. We're going to be going out, trying to get some meds for my community and kill some plague hearts.
I mean, this is going to be a disaster because I know infamously you're not that great, and I'm not that great. As a matter of fact, it's really funny because Brian Menard is known for he's this really cool, badass killer. He's so good at the game. Then you have Coliseon and on all these other Fall Down, Go Boom. All these guys are just so good. And I have a reputation, and I found this online. My strategy, and it is a legit strategy, is to run away. That's my strategy. When you're about to die, run away. And so I've seen people list people's strategies, do this, and then if you just don't, I'm the least guy, if you just struggle to be cool and do all these cool moves, take Sunny's strategy, which is run away. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll own it.
Yeah, no, that works for me too. I mean, all the times, the few times when I don't run away are the times when I have managed to get my characters killed. And even sometimes when I did run away. Most recently, I was playing on my personal stream, and I was like, I'm just gonna throw one quick Molotov at this plague heart before I go home. I'm kind of not in great shape to fight one right now. I'll just throw the one Molotov. And I had a companion with me. The moment I threw that Molotov, a pack of ferals just rushed me and my friend, and I ran away, and the friend got completely mauled behind me. But, okay, people aren't here to hear my weird little anecdotes. They're here to find out about Update 35. So Wushu has been hard at work doing what we do every year at this studio, which is make sweaters, or in this case, release sweaters. So, people, over the course of a couple of Christmases, we've added sort of a bunch of traditions to State of Decay 2. Every year, people expect that certain things are going to show up, and those things require us to release an update. And so Wushu basically planned their schedule around the fact that they knew they were going to need to release a holiday update. So not only do we have a bunch of our holiday outfits and other traditions coming back into the game, but they've also brought in some additional bug fixes and some brand new content that you haven't seen before. So let's get into it. First off, as you can see over on the left side of this image, we've got the classic ugly holiday sweaters and hats. I don't love the tradition of calling them ugly sweaters because they're actually, that's sort of the official word for this kind of sweater, but they're actually gorgeous. They're some of my favorite things.
Are you experiencing the holidays if you don't have an ugly sweater and a hat?
I feel like for a long time I didn't have one. I would just wear flannels like this all the time until, I saw the former design director over here, Richard Fogey, has this massive collection of geeky ugly sweaters that he wears all Christmas season long from Halloween until New Year's, a different geeky ugly sweater every single day at work. And he had one with walkers on Hoth. He had I think one with Yoda on it. He had all kinds of weird stuff. So I went out and I got myself a Lord of the Rings Eye of Sauron ugly sweater that I now wear to holiday parties. So,
honestly, the uglier, the more handsome and looking you look, in my opinion.
Exactly. That's what. Yeah, it's a contrast thing. You wear a really ugly sweater, and it just brings out your face. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
Exactly.
I wish I had the glowing light bulb sweater, though. On the right side of this little group of 5 here on the left, that is my favorite piece of clothing in the entire game, and I wish I had something that looked like that in real life. But
yeah, that'd be awesome.
But we're not just bringing back those outfits, because as you've probably already seen on the right side of this image, we've got a different set of outfits. So I have been getting messages constantly for the past year, people saying, when are you going to bring back those limited edition outfits that you did to do tie-ins with other games? We had we had an anniversary celebration for our game. We also had an Age of Empires hoodie. We had a vest from Sea of Thieves. And guess what? We're bringing those back too. Finally, not just those, but also the green cattleman hat, which has got the little glowing sequins around the outside of it, which are great. So it's like the perfect outfit. Really, is that glowing reindeer sweater, and then the shiny cattleman hat is probably my favorite outfit to put on a character.
Agreed.
But
I really like the Sea of Thieves one too, by the way, with the gloves and that one's amazing.
Yeah, and it's got sort of the Sea of Thieves skull on the back. So I love that we've got our own skull logo that looks like an eagle, and they've got a skull. And so they kind of really line up together really, really nicely. And I had a character for a long time that I called Scary Gary, and I would always dress him in that vest, and also and I think it was the like maybe the hockey mask or something, one of the other like masks. I would run around in that outfit. I had even forgotten that was a Sea of Thieves tie-in, that it was a limited edition outfit that most people couldn't wear. And so people would be like, where'd you get that vest? I'm like, it's just one of the vests. What are you talking about? I forgot. No, it's a limited edition vest that I got in like 2020 or something. And people who joined us since then have not been able to get this clothing. And so, yeah, basically, if you play the game after the update comes out, anytime between then and like early January, all of these outfits are just going to drop into your lap. If you don't have them yet, they're just going to show up in your closet, and you'll just have them forever. So I've had them for years now, but you can now have them too if you're new to the game.
Kudos to the art team. They all look amazing. So
yeah,
just absolutely awesome.
Yeah, massive credit to Susan Jessup. She actually no longer works at the company. She's moved on to other things. But she was a master at she created all of our insane Halloween costumes. She built like a lot of this clothing. She not only like built into the game, some of the pieces of clothing she actually built in real life. It's kind of insane.
Wow.
The amount of skill and talent that she had, and she actually left us with some extra clothing that we have not released yet. In fact, we still haven't released. We've got a few dozen things that maybe might be less than a few dozen. I don't know. She left some stuff for us though that we haven't released yet. But the night is young. One other thing I wanted to point out, though, while we're talking about holiday stuff that gets released automatically if you just play the game after Update 35 launches, which is going to be sometime, by the way, in early December. That's what we're shooting for. So early December sometime. This is gonna land. From then until sometime in early January, all you have to do is play the game to unlock these. Now, there's one thing that you actually need to put some extra effort into, and that is the glorious Wizard Van. That is returning with its beautiful. I think it was Mark Lautenbach that made this thing. The magic wand melee weapon in the back. That thing is going to also arrive. But it's a radio command. You have to call that sucker in. Don't forget to do that in December. But I believe that, so I don't actually remember, I don't know what rules Wushu set up for this. I should have asked them before the stream. But basically, I'm not sure if you can call down as many wizard vans as you want to in your community during that time, or if it's limited to one van per community. I know when we first released it, it was one van per community. But they had the chance to crack this open again, so have a look at it, see what it can do. Maybe we'll have a solid answer for you in December when we do our next stream. But there's options on the table. Nice. Anyway. So, speaking of brand new stuff that you haven't seen before, all of that stuff is old stuff that you've seen before. We've got a few new items that are coming in. So, this is part of the rest of Update 35. We've actually got a brand new mission that's coming into the game, and I don't know a lot of the details about it because I wasn't one of the people developing it. But there is a new mission that is going into the game, and part of that mission is looting 4 different outfit items from across the map. And so that includes that blue shark hoodie. We've got a couple of fancy, got a white fedora and a white gambler's hat. And then really the star of the show is that leopard print Outback hat at the bottom, which just looks insane to me. And I feel like that's the hat that probably, I've got a daughter who plays State of Decay, and like half of her clothing is in that leopard print. So that's probably going to be her favorite.
Oh, they're gorgeous. I love the hats. I'm a big hat guy, obviously, so love the hats. Well done.
And then in addition to that, that's not all that we're going to be doing. Oh, hey, my controller just disconnected. We've got the game running in the background right now. Let me make sure that we don't lose it while we're going, because Sonny and I are actually going to play the game at some point, I promise. But other stuff coming in. We've got a new curveball coming in. It's called Influx of Meds, and it's basically it's one of the positive curveballs. It's one of the ones that actually makes your life easier for a little while. Basically, it creates a bubble of space on the map where you're going to have access to a lot more meds resources and a lot more meds consumables, a lot more like medical consumables. I don't know exactly how it works,
Nice.
but I read it in the patch notes and it sounds good.
Good stuff. Good stuff. The curveballs have been just really fun to really is a curveball. It's been well named. It's been really fun to deal with.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like I love it. One of my favorite things to do is to sort of create a system that is sort of that seems obviously expandable over time. Like that was kind of my thing with sort of the naming and the trait system. Is the fact that like once we made the system, there was nothing stopping us from adding more to it over time. And so I get to like add people's names and stuff into the game, and it's a lot of fun. And the curveballs, they're a little more expensive than adding somebody's name, but it's the kind of system where you can just keep having good ideas. You don't have to just come up with a bunch of stuff and then stop and move on. You can keep having good ideas, and you can see that Wushu is still thinking of new ways to use this feature.
Yeah, it was when I first discovered it, it was just like, well, I can't believe they incorporated something like this, because I've been hearing for I think years now from yourself that the code is old and you can't do hardly anything to this thing, and it seems like they pulled the magic rabbit out of their hat and have really done something really neat within the system that you guys have.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed. The sheer number of things that they did with the curveball update that I honestly would not have even asked my team to do, because when you're so aware of like sort of the layers of cruft that develop in a game's code over time, you kind of don't want to ask somebody to do something that's really that is going to be a little bit obnoxious. But I think Wushu came in just like bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They're like, we could do anything, and they went nuts and did a bunch of stuff that we probably never would have done. So I mean, I feel like it was a really good move to sort of do this handoff and give somebody with who's just got that sort of youthful newcomer energy to bring into the game.
I agree. A fresh set of eyes on something that just looks at it from a different perspective, it can be absolute game changer for anything like this, or even like the content creator. It's such a big deal.
So to go on to sort of look at some of the other bug fixes and things that are going into the game. First off, they've improved curveball distribution. So basically the idea is, I think they got some feedback from the audience that they felt like they were getting too much repetition, not enough variety of curveballs. And they've got a huge list of curveballs, but it's not endless, and so you will eventually see the same curveballs over time. But they've tweaked the way that the randomness works so that you're more likely to get a variety of curveballs, and you're not going to see as much repetition over time. They've also fixed. There was a problem with the day counter, where the day counter was adding 7 days for some reason to people's whatever timeline, and so that should be fixed now in the new update. They've also fixed a ton of localization bugs. La Coalición, who's in our chat right now, in particular, has been sending us tons and tons of reports, because he runs a Spanish-speaking State of Decay community, and basically whenever we're implementing a feature and we're putting text into a feature, we always have to very specifically, like the first time we implement it, we just throw the text in, and then later we go back through and we're like, okay, this needs to be localized, that needs to be localized, and we'll like basically specially format that text so that it is sort of put out to like a spreadsheet someplace, and we send it out to translators, and they translate the whole thing, and then that stuff gets automatically sort of loaded back into the game. And if you set your Xbox or your PC or whatever to use different languages, then you'll get all of the text in that language. But it's really easy to miss individual pieces of text and just not do that formatting to them. And if that happens, it never goes to the localizers, it never gets translated, and so that happened in a few places across the curveball update. So we've listened to the feedback that we got from La Coalición and other sources, and Wushu has fixed a bunch of those cases. We can't promise they fixed every single case. There might still be a few. I think they're aware of a few that they're still in the process of fixing, but everything that they had so far, that they had finished so far when it was time to drop update 35, they're shipping all of those out. So hopefully Spanish-speaking and other language-speaking communities, hopefully you'll have a lot more that you can actually read instead of a bunch of random English text showing up instead of the language that you've set your game to. And
it's I wanted to say real quick that I've noticed that I've been talking to other communities from other languages that play this game, and cool thing is that they don't complain too much, but it's really cool that he's been catching these and helping those community out, because they do reach out to me and tell me things, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not sure what can be done about that. So I'm really glad that those are being looked at. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's really, really important to us to support these other languages, because, I mean, one of the things that really made it possible for us to continue to support this game over time is when we released a Juggernaut update. We talk about the fact that that was when we sort of folded in some of the DLCs from the original game. That was when we added the brand new new player experience and Providence Ridge. There's a bunch of big changes that went in. One we don't talk about that much was that's also when we translated the game into Chinese and put it on Steam, which gave it a much greater reach to a lot of places that that either didn't have a lot of Xbox penetration or that didn't have a lot of language penetration. And so the fact that this game suddenly became more successful at the Juggernaut edition, and we were able to keep supporting it for another 3 years after that, a lot of it is owed to our international community that speaks languages other than English. And so we owe you guys a lot, and so we're going to try to support this game for you as well as we possibly can. So
shout out to them, by the way.
Yeah.
I have somebody who takes my videos and he translated to him, and I give him the complete okay. I don't care if he makes money off of it. So shout out to the international community. They're big, they're awesome, and they really love this community and they love this game. And so just shout out to them.
Yeah, and so whenever La Coalición translates this video into Spanish for his own community, just, hi, La Coalición. Now you have to translate an acknowledgement of you and how awesome you and your community are. So, the Black Heart. So we actually had a couple mentions in the chat while we were talking of the Black Heart, which is one of the toughest curveballs in the game. It's this... I have not actually fought the thing yet. It's a very difficult to kill Plague Heart that, depending on what attributes it brings with it, can make your game very, very, very difficult. And so there was a problem with its objectives. Its objectives were not showing up, and they fixed that. They have not made it any easier, though, so it is still just as hard. So apologies to anyone for whom this has been a struggle. They've kept the difficulty high, but they've at least made it more accessible, easier to understand what's going on. And then on top of that, there's also another curveball that needed some help. It was under the weather. It was actually, the curveball was ending, but it was looking like it was lasting longer than it actually was. That bug has also been fixed. We got a couple of curveballs that needed fixing, and those fixes have gone in. And finally, various key binding issues. That was sort of the last thing on the bullet list. We've got, basically there were, they didn't actually list them all out in detail, but once you look at the patch notes, you'll see that basically there was a few different issues. Whenever you add a new feature to the game that edits the key bindings, there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And so they've gone through and sort of like fixed all the problems that they knew about with if you've got a custom keyboard layout or custom controller layout. There were some things that were obstacles that now hopefully should not be obstacles anymore. And a partridge in a pear tree, because I had some extra space at the bottom of the list, and I really didn't want to reformat all of these bullets when I realized I had extra space at the bottom. So there you go. You get a partridge in a pear tree that you can imagine is in the game and is not real. So that was the patch notes. That's update 35. How about now, like 18 minutes into the stream, we actually do some gameplay? Are you feeling up to that?
Let's do it. Let's hope we don't die. Let's do it.
Okay, so I've got a car. It's out here. I actually need to move my microphone so I can see my game. So we've got a couple of different objectives. So right before this stream, I went around trying to scout some Plague Hearts because the difficulty level we're playing at right now, we're at Dread Action, Dread Community, but Lethal Map, which means that not only do we have a maximum number of Plague Hearts on the map, but they were not automatically scouted. And so I had to go around finding them all. And I got into some trouble over here and accidentally woke a Plague Heart. So we've got infestations already creeping towards the base. It's potentially pretty bad, but I've got another problem, which is that I have almost no meds. Luckily, I'm earning one a day, so it's going to be okay eventually, but I don't have that long to wait. I've got one character who already has Blood Plague, and I've only got one cure, and I saved the cure for this session so that I wouldn't potentially get Sunny killed, and so we need to get more meds so that I can make more cure. So I was thinking that what we could do is hop down here first, pick up some meds, maybe claim another meds outpost, and then go and try to. Oh crap! We've got a siege, a siege horde, or not a siege horde, a siege infestation.
I was trying to tell you that your stuff's getting taken over, and they're gonna make it to your med spot down there, your outpost down there on the bottom.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So they're invested in ammo. It was during while you were talking. I was like,
So maybe what we should do is actually go after these infestations first.
Your med outpost has been infested.
It just was? Oh crap! It was. Okay, this just got real bad.
Told you.
Okay.
No. You're like, I have a positive. I'm okay, and then bam, right there.
All right.
There's
well.
the gift.
So let's head down here. Let's deal with these infestations first, then go try to claim some more meds, and then try to put an end to this plague heart, which is inconveniently right next to some hostiles. So we'll see how this whole thing goes.
Oh no! Oh god!
So right here, we've got one of my favorite cars. We've got the. Oh wait a minute! I need to fix this car. I've got some repair kits in the back, and no space for them. Okay, here we go. I got some repair kits in the back. So the Trumbull 4x4 was the first vehicle that got sort of the new treatment, like because originally our vehicles were tuned very differently from how they're tuned today. My character's half asleep. I just realized that we were standing there talking about Update 35 for so long, my character actually got fatigued, and I need to go switch to a different character. Sorry.
Yeah, I made sure I made some coffee.
Yeah, check your character too, just in case. You're real tired. Oh, actually, you know what? I should play Dale. Because Dale is wearing the greatest outfit in the game. He's got the Sea of Thieves vest and the glowing cattleman's hat.
Oh, look at that! That looks great.
Oh, and he's got the pink assault rifle. He's got the pink assault rifle. He's got it all. So let me just double check. Okay, the tank hammer, that's great against plague hearts. The pink assault rifle is good. He's got that revolver. He's got a bunch of C4 charges and some smoke grenades. It's like this guy he's loaded for bear. All right, we're good. Actually, let me just get a little bit more fire if I've got some fire, just in case. Yeah, because we're going to deal with some infestations. We should have as much fire as possible. Okay.
So I did have I had a question from the community.
Go for
from
it.
my community. It was they asked, how did plague hearts? Who came up with the idea of plague hearts to begin with?
That's a good question. So originally, we actually went a long time in early development without plague hearts in the game. We didn't have anything like that. The entire game was basically just, you building out your community, sort of trying to, scavenge for resources, claim outposts, and then complete the random missions. And we realized once we actually got to that point that we were missing something. There wasn't really a sense of the player needing to conquer the map, needing to defeat an enemy. They could avoid zombies all day and just do, the bare minimum. To complete the missions, and it was feeling kind of empty. Like one of the things that I loved about State of Decay 1, which I didn't work on, so I get to compliment it, was the fact that it was an open world game where you were playing the map and sort of examining the map, strategizing around the map was a huge part of the game, and we were really kind of missing that in State of Decay 2. So I believe, I'm not sure exactly. Oh wait, did I go the wrong? I went the wrong way. Oh, whatever. I'm not exactly sure who it was who originally had the idea of plague hearts. I think it was probably either Richard Fogey or Nick Millay, neither of whom still works here. But they were, Richard was the design director, and Nick was a senior designer on the team. And does this character? Yes, I do. Okay, I'm going to climb up here. Deal with these guys.
I think plague hearts are like very, very clever way of incorporating kind of like a boss that wasn't kind of there before, like something to really just kind of go after that kind of acts like that in a clever way. And what's been kind of cool since I've been covering the game is how it's evolved, like the way now where it's smart. Like that to me, when you guys did the update, and I forget what update it was, where now they have the infestations, they're traveling, they're taking over. Yeah. It something that I thought was pretty clever got even more clever, and so it's been really cool to kind of see the way it's evolved, and it's just gotten like so neat. Like this isn't something you see in other, at least that I'm aware of, and it's really cool. Just the theme of plague hearts and how they work, I really like it.
Well, see, one of the things that really you can sort of, when you think about it, the original version of plague hearts, they were designed to be efficient to create because we came up with them at the 11th hour. The game most of the rest of the game existed without them, and we needed to add them, but we didn't have time to add. Like when you think about a boss battle in a typical game, there's a lot of AI that's going into that. There's a lot of like really unique behaviors. A boss will go through phases. and and they'll really change up the way they act, that sort of thing. Oh gosh! Oh wait! Oh, there's what just nailed me? Something bad.
Yeah, it was a feral.
Oh, did you just take care of it behind my back?
Yeah, I did.
I appreciate it. Thank you for this is one of the best things when I'm trying to sort of talk to the audience. I'm really, really bad at paying attention to what's going on. Having somebody have my back makes a huge difference. Okay, we've rescued this outpost. That's good. We need to go to my meds outpost, though. That's probably the most important one. But anyway, you'll note that plague hearts are actually very, very simple. They're just a big pile of hit points. And it's not because we didn't have ideas. Like, we had lots of ideas for different ways to make plague hearts, more complex to fight, more interesting to fight. But because they were 11th hour edition, there just wasn't that much that we could do in the time we had. And so I think that it was clever in that, the team that was working on the plague hearts, they came up with probably the most complex and interesting thing we could do with the minimum number of resources that we could possibly devote to it. And then later on, because we were allowed to, let me, there we go, infestation cleared. Awesome. One of the things that we were, able to do because the game ended up doing as well as it did, and because people like you folks in the chat supported it, we were able to keep advancing the game over time, and now the plague hearts are more interesting. The thing that's interesting though is we didn't end up making them more interesting like traditional bosses. We didn't make the process of fighting them more interesting. We made their strategic impact on the game more interesting, which it's a different direction than you might have thought. That we would have wanted to go, but in my mind, I feel like that's where State of Decay sort of stands out against other games. Is the fact that it's an open world game where it's not just the open world isn't just a backdrop for missions. The open world is the game, and the heart attack update, which created this sort of strategic layer where on the micro level, fighting a plague heart is fighting a plague heart like it's always been, but on the macro level, they're attacking you. They're attacking you on the strategic map. That makes them interesting in a way that is very specific to our game. I am going the wrong direction. What in the world do I think I'm doing? I think I was just, I'm not even going to explain it. This is wrong. I'm going to turn around and go the right way. Sorry.
It's fun. I think our skill levels are the same because I'm bad at navigation and I'm good at dying as well. So you and I are both kind of on the same level, which makes for an entertaining stream, but not, maybe not keeping our characters alive as well. And cohesive. Exactly.
Okay, so what I was trying to do was cut across terrain, but I ended up orienting myself in the wrong direction and not cutting across terrain. So what I really need to do is get on this road and take this road down to where I want to claim some meds. So let's actually do that this time. So I'm going to get on this dirt road, which will get me where I want to go. And this is actually it's right where I was before. I really should have had an easier time finding this. So, Sonny, so you've asked me a question. I should ask you a question, which is, so I've got, in my spare time, I run a little hobby YouTube channel. I've got, a handful of subscribers and just a little tiny community of people that I like playing with, and that's a lot of fun. You are much more ambitious than I am, and you've got a channel that is doing a lot more. And I think there's a lot of folks. I mean, my son, my 9-year-old son, if you ask him what he wants to do with his life, he wants to be a YouTuber. He wants to seriously be a YouTuber. And of course, and I think that it used to be that every kid would say, I want to be a game developer when they were little. Now it's moving on to YouTube. Yes. I think more kids say they want to be YouTubers than want to be game developers.
By the way, you nailed that because it's funny because growing up, I've always liked video games, obviously, but I thought game developer, I'm not sure. And it's weird when I think about it. And sorry to cut you off. I had a thought. It's weird when you think about it. When I was a kid, and I'm old now, I'm 37. When I was a kid, my job, what I would end up really loving and finding kind of what's my career and my dream, it didn't exist. So I grew up a long time, well into my late 20s, not knowing what the heck I wanted to do with myself until I started making videos. So it's just crazy to think that the times change so quick, technology changes so quick, gaming changes so quick, that when I was a kid, I never knew what I wanted to do, and I always thought game developer. And you're right, everyone thought game developer, not me. I was just like, it doesn't seem that fun to make games, code and all this. I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna enjoy that. So it's just been really cool. Sorry to cut off your. I just thought it was interesting because I heard that kids, their number one thing they want to be is YouTubers, and that blows my mind. mind.
Yeah, so actually, I had a really similar impulse to you when I was younger. When I was like a teenager, I actually went to film school because at the time, I mean, YouTube was not a thing when I was a kid. But I did go to film school because I was like, I wanted to make something, and I knew that film school existed, right? Like there was a path. There was like people had been making movies for 100 years, and they knew how to do it, and they had college programs that could train you how to do it. Whereas game development, nobody knew how that was done. That was like, it was a brand new industry. It was only at the time when I was a teenager, it was only like 20 years old. And, nobody knew what they were doing. And so there wasn't a path to follow. There wasn't like a way, like you couldn't just look up, well, how do you become a game developer? There was no answer to that question. And so I just didn't, even though I was really interested in video games my whole life, my dad was a game reviewer and he would bring home games and I would play them for him and demo them for him so that, that was my training basically as a game developer was demoing games for a game critic. I never imagined that it was actually a possibility, and it was just pure luck. I happened to end up meeting the right people at the right time, and getting just randomly offered a job at my first job 20 years ago, and but otherwise I probably never would have even considered trying to become a game developer because it seemed so impossible. And so the question I was going to ask you is: there's a lot of kids out there now who want to be YouTubers, and it's the kind of thing where there isn't a college where you learn to be a YouTuber. It's a thing that you learn to do on your own. And so I'm curious, what advice would you give those kids? Like, what would you tell them to do if they want to learn how to do what you do?
So that's a really good question. It's interesting. Not to go into my extremely long story, but I was diagnosed with cancer in 2016.
Oh.
And I ended up going through some heavy chemo, and I was 29 at the time. So when I went through that and I was able to get through it, I kind of realized I'm 30 years old, and I was 30 years old, and I was like, to this day, I still don't really know what I want to do. I've always worked with kids with disabilities, and I still do that today. But I never knew what I wanted to do, so I got into YouTube. So I started streaming, and I've always done streaming. That was the first thing. Back when Twitch was around in like 2011, I was streaming, and I've always started off as a streamer, not as a video maker. And I never knew I would like video making. And so I got into streaming, and then I started messing around with just playing a game and throwing it up on YouTube. Little by little, people just started to watch a little bit. It wasn't a lot. It'd be 100 views or something, but you'd get excited for that.
Yeah.
And
I'm still excited by 100
over time,
views.
I realized. Yeah, and I still am too. I have small little channels and I get just a couple views, and I never take any of that for granted. And so I decided, okay, let's really get into this, and it became my passion. I found something that I love to do. I love waking up in the morning and just tackling and making a video and doing that. So literally the way you do it, go through YouTube and learn everything you can. I've learned how to edit on my own. I learned audio on my own camera. You have to be, a videographer. You need to be an audio guy. You need to be a technical guy because all the stuff you have to learn. You have to learn all these things at the moment because I know they'll come up with college. It'll be a thing where there'll be classes for this, like specifically for people who want to do social media, and I think there already is. But I mean, that's what I did. I self-learned, and it's funny because I have little nephews and nieces, and they want to be YouTubers as well, and that's what I say. Hey, like, just start doing it. And that's the biggest piece of advice more than anything to get kids with your parents, if they allow you, or as you get a little older, just start doing it. Start, making little things here and there, and eventually you'll find if it's the passion, and you'll want to learn. And at the moment, that's how you do it. You kind of self-learn, and you kind of do a lot of study. And so I poured over thousands of hours of how to do this, and that, and that's personally how I did it.
So what's your favorite part of the job? Like what keeps you going? What makes this a thing that you not only decided to do, but that you keep doing?
What's my favorite? I just like it. I don't know if there's something that's like I could point to and say that's my favorite thing. I'll tell you one thing. This is gonna sound a little weird, but I definitely don't do it for any sort of fame. Not that I'm not have any fame, but like I don't do it for anything. Like actually the thing that I just prefer, like I don't even look at my numbers. I throw a video up and I just don't look at it. I just like creating something. I think that's what you mentioned before. Like I've always thought I love games, but I never thought making the game, that didn't sound fun to me. But making videos that talk about games, now that's something that I was just like, whoa. And I think it's just the love of creating something and seeing people enjoy it. And I think the biggest thing that I've found over the years that I've really liked the most is just interacting with people and getting to know a lot of people, and then kind of making a little bit of a difference in their life, hopefully in a positive way. And that's something that I've tried my best, whether it's, you know, through live streams or making a video. And if it just takes somebody, you know, 10 minutes and give them a little joy out of their day, if I make a video or if I do a live stream or something, I think to me that is the biggest thing that I take the most joy out of. So I think that's like my two favorite things, just creating something and really just talking and interacting with people. Because maybe in person I'm not very social, but you throw on a camera, you throw me on a live stream, and I can probably talk all day. You can't get me to shut up. So it's just interesting.
Yeah, so yeah, essentially, it's kind of funny with my little, like, you know, hobby channel that I have. It's a really similar thing where I'm gonna drop something real quick.
Are we taking these guys out? Oh God, it's Dread, right? Because I know in Lethal they one shot. So
yeah, I know it's Dread. I'm grabbing myself some different equipment here. Okay, so we've got some hostiles and a plague heart at the same time. So they haven't. I don't think they've seen us yet.
I unequipped my other gun, and this isn't that good for killing hostiles. I'll be behind you.
Okay.
You be the bullet sponge.
I'll be the bullet sponge. That sounds good. Let me make sure I've got fire to set them on fire.
Doesn't help it's nighttime.
Oh yeah, I can't. Yeah, totally. We can't see them at all.
No. Okay, one's down. Oh, I'm gonna bust through the back.
There's zombies coming in after you.
Yeah, they are. Oh, I'm running to you. Okay, I ended up being the bullet sponge.
Okay, I took one. He's to the ground, but he's not dead. Okay, I can't see at all.
Yeah, it's really dark.
Oh no, zombies tackling me in the back. No, stop it.
I can't.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Trying to get away. I can't get away. Get away.
I can't help. Hold on.
I can't see well enough, and now I'm on fire.
Wait,
oh gosh, what happened?
Right. I might have thrown some fire. Sorry. Oh Lord.
This is great. No, this is what the people come here for. Okay. Down. And I think the zombies are going after one of them.
He just got back up. You keep getting attacked from behind.
There we go. Hostiles down. Well, if the plague heart wasn't already awake, it would definitely have been awake now. I am almost infected and did not bring any cure with me because I am bad at thinking ahead and preparing.
Oh no. I'm coming to you.
Okay, I am actually out of bullets, so I'm gonna have to use this. I've got my revolver still, but I'm out of assault rifle bullets. So when we go after this plague heart, I'm gonna have to use C4. Luckily, this is Dread, so if we can actually kill this plague heart, all the zombies around are gonna die. At least all of the plague zombies around are gonna die. So. Oh
man, so you did have a hostile right next to a plague heart. Okay, that's all you. I'm gonna take care of the people out here.
Okay, that sounds good.
Zombies out here.
Yeah, you keep them off my back. Let's see, is it? I gotta judge when the gas is gone. There we go. Plague heart destroyed.
Oh, nice.
Now let me see if there is a useful rucksack, an ammo rucksack. I'll take that. And anything else I can carry? Yeah. All right. I've looted it. If you want anything from it, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. I actually had a question for you that honestly perfectly segued in what we were talking about. And I actually wrote this down. I'll go off the top of my head, but I'm curious since, I'm a content creator, and because I've been covering games now since 2018 now, we're in 23, so 5 years.
Wow.
Sometimes you can get a little burned out from covering your hobby. Is that something that you as a game developer have had an issue with? Is that how do you keep that spark alive to kind of keep, new games for sure are exciting, but just curious how that works for you guys.
Yeah, that can be tough because there are definitely times when it feels like I feel this responsibility to play games sometimes, right? Where
yes,
it's like a new game comes out and I'm like, I have to play this because I have to be conversant in what this game does. Right. Even if it's a huge game that isn't in a genre that I enjoy, I still feel this responsibility. Well, I'm supposed to know something about this game because even if it's in a different genre from the game that I'm working on, for instance, when we're talking about, any game that we're working on, any feature we're working on, people will bring up other games as examples to sort of illustrate what they're talking about. Because it's not like we've got this, the games industry is so new and it's so varied, and games are so different from each other that there isn't really like a universally agreed upon language for every little detail of how a game can work. The way that we often talk to each other is saying, well, do it like Final Fantasy, do it like Crusader Kings, do it like Grand Theft Auto, do it like Dave the Diver, like, and those are all extremely different games from each other, and chances are there are very few people who really love all 4 of those games. But as a game developer, you kind of have to know what they all do, or at least know well enough that you can talk about them in a discussion. And so actually one of the reasons why I started my weird little live stream and YouTube channel is to motivate myself to play as many different games as possible, because I found that when I was on my own, I would keep grabbing games on Steam and being like, oh yeah, I should play this. Oh, I should play that. And then I never would, because it just sounded like work. And, I would come home after a long day making games, and the last thing I would want to do is then go and play a game that maybe wasn't in a genre that I loved, or just wasn't the kind of game that I was usually into. That takes some emotional energy to play something that is not in your usual wheelhouse. And so for me, that it was really tough. But turns out, like, similar to you, I really like streaming and performing with other people, and I really like video. I was going to be a film major, and so I was like, okay, but what if I have a live stream? If I have a live stream, then I can motivate myself to play a huge variety of games, still get all that research done without it feeling like a slog. Because even if I'm not super enjoying the game, I'm at least enjoying being with people and creating and making something, right? And so that's the excuse. That's the way that I've found to solve that. But everyone solves it differently. I mean, like, I'm weird in that I have this like hobby live stream that I do. Most other game developers don't, and we all talk about that sort of that struggle. We've started actually doing like events at the office. We have a Friday co-op thing that we do in the afternoon, where it's like, we'll like have people, it's largely like, it's like me, a couple designers and QA people mostly, but it's people from all over the studio. We got a few programmers in there, the occasional artist, and we'll get together in like new co-op games that have come out. We'll play them together, because not all of us have like access to, like, some of us are like habitual co-op players where, we've just got a group of friends and we always play with them. I'm not one of those people. I barely have any. I don't have time for friends. I've got 4 kids. And so, but this is an opportunity for me to play games like Redfall and like Zomboid and like, like all of these games that are, that are really, and unfortunately, GTFO, that's another one that we played that was really interesting. I never would have been able to get into that game on my own, but because I had this group of co-op players together, at the office, I was able to learn what GTFO does and what their co-op is like. And so yeah, that's another thing where it's like, it would have been really difficult for me to try to make my life work around playing co-op games, just because it doesn't. But because I've got people, kind of a support group at work, we help each other do it. So I don't know if that was a great answer to your question, but
no, it was. I was wondering if like game developers were having kind of the same struggle at times, because it can definitely, when you take on your career, like was your hobby, and it makes sense, do what you love. It could definitely be a struggle at times to play or do certain things. And I know people are probably like, what is he talking? You ever get paid to play and stuff like that? It happens. It just happens, it just happens. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like pretty much everyone goes through it. So I was wondering if game developers kind of went through the same struggle, and it sounds like you guys do.
Yeah, we absolutely do. And it's the solution to it. There isn't one good solution to it. It's a different solution for every game developer. But yeah. So it makes me wonder, like, actually, the people that I wonder about along those lines is people who work in restaurants. Do you stop liking food? Because that sounds really, really bad. like the people get like serious, like, like they're
hate
chefs.
The food that's at the restaurant, right? But maybe they won't hate food in general.
Yeah, it's like when I watch The Bear, I what I usually watch is not necessarily for how they run the restaurant. I watch what they eat when they're when they're not at the restaurant, like, and some of them, sometimes they actually would put on these really elaborate meals for each other, but sometimes they're just eating a Hot Pocket, because like, I just don't have the energy to try to make food, because making food is my job, and so they're just like, I'm just gonna have a Hot Pocket instead.
I didn't even think about that. Just make a hot, because that makes sense. You get even a little bit like turned off from cooking or something. I never thought about that, but I bet that happens too. Wow.
But yeah, I wish I had like a surefire solution to it though, because that.
Oh no, and even for me myself, I don't have that problem as much as these days as I have in the past years. These days, sometimes I'm just gaming and I'm not working at all, and that's been happening a lot, like this year and the past year. And I've kind of fallen in love with all sorts of games and genres, and this is still going to be my favorite. It still is, playing these survival games like this, State of Decay. But it could definitely be a challenge. But it's just, gaming is just one of those things where, like you said, it gets so varied, and new things come out. You go, wow, that's super interesting, and you start diving into it. So that's really a big fun aspect to it. It's just kind of discovering all the new things, because technology is just getting so crazy these days.
So one of the things I do really like about working in the game industry, and I've been saying this from like my second year doing this. By the way, we got another Wakey Plague Heart that we have to go deal with.
Okay.
But and it's probably our last Plague Heart, because I think we got about 14 minutes left. Is the fact that it's so varied. I mean, especially like early, like right now, I've been working on the same game for 2 years without us even really being able to announce anything about it, and that can be really, really slow. And there's people who have gotten it much worse than me, where it's like, people who worked on, say, like Duke Nukem Forever for 11 years of their life and then left the company before the game ever even shipped. Like stuff like that. That could be really, like, spending so much time on something could be tough. But early on in my career, I was working at a work-for-hire studio that basically made games based on kids' movies, and they would put out a game in 6-9 months. I actually once I actually made a game in I think it was like 45 days, something like that.
Wow.
From zero to shipping a game on the Nintendo DS, like 45 days. It was crazy.
Wow.
But it meant that my job was really, really varied, because each game we made was extremely different from the last game. And I didn't, which on one hand was bad, because it meant that we were always bad at the thing we were doing, because we had just done something different. We couldn't build on our expertise. We weren't building franchises that we owned ourselves. We were just the whatever game came down the pipe. But at the same time, it meant that my job just was constantly changing, and the problems I was solving were changing. And the fact that the game industry is so new and people keep coming up with brand new ideas no one's ever had before, it just means that your job never gets incredibly boring. And even working for the past couple of years on a game that where we haven't been able to even announce anything about it, even then.
I like how the name of the game is secret too.
Yeah, it's not really. Yeah, it's just for some reason I've just got this extra hyperactive habit of like, say as little as possible about your project, even if obviously everyone knows I'm working on State of Decay 3. It's just I can't say it. But even then, it's like, I'll be working on one feature one week, another feature the next week. And even just the different parts of a game are also different from each other. That could keep it interesting. And so, yeah, it's the kind of thing where this job, there's parts of it, that, especially when you're like, if you're working at a studio that does a lot of crunch, there's parts of it that can become a slog, but there's so many parts that aren't. And that can't be said of every job. There's so many jobs where after you've been doing it for a year, every part of it is a slog and it never changes. And the game industry is not that. And that's, I feel incredibly lucky to get to work at a place like that.
Yeah, that's something that I was mentioning. It's just it's if you think about where the games come just within the last 15 years, how much it's evolved. You go 20 and then it gets even more. It's just crazy. When you were telling me that right there, I was just like, I can only imagine the types of projects you jumped from that were so different, and it probably made you like knowledgeable with a lot of things. But even as time goes on, I imagine a lot of what you're even learning is getting outdated as well, because it moves this quickly, right? At least I'm assuming. Yeah,
totally. And that's the thing. Like, one of the reasons why, like, I always feel like I have to play, new games as they come out.
Right.
It's because the industry is changing so fast. Like, the knowledge that I developed, 20 years ago when I was working on, like Samurai Jack and the Shadow of Aku, which is a very different game from State of Decay. Like, the information that I had in my head back then would not have helped me make State of Decay.
Right.
There are so many games I had to play between then and now to even just be qualified to work on a game like this. I had to play a whole bunch of Grand Theft Auto, and I had to play, a whole bunch of, like, say, Left 4 Dead, and I had to play, because while this game is very different from Grand Theft Auto and Left 4 Dead, you have to know what those games did. You have to know, whoa, thank you saved my life just there. Like, you know, because our game, it's got different freak zombies from Left 4 Dead, but it's got freak zombies, you know, and that was the thing that, you know, not every piece of zombie, you know, fiction had, you know, that aspect of you know, zombie lore in it. And, you know, playing Left 4 Dead really sort of helps inform you. Oh, now I've got blood plague. Really helps inform you know, your work on stuff like that. Okay.
You're talking and I'm like, I'm dying over here. I'm trying to live.
I am also dying. Also dying.
I think you're dying worse than me. And now we got 2 screamers. Oh no.
Oh no. If I could just do enough damage to this stupid heart.
Okay, I got 3 screamers. Oh, I got them all.
Okay, good. Oh,
there's a med pack.
Oh, I'm getting bit. Oh, biting is the worst. There we go. Okay.
I have a feral on me.
Oh, you have a feral? Oh crap.
I've already killed like 3 ferals, now 3 screamers.
Okay. See, you don't get to say you're bad at this game if you're killing all these ferals and screamers. I mean, screamers maybe. Screamers aren't too bad, but ferals, come on, man.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, but at least, you know, when you're at an infestation, ferals drop things. That's cool.
Yeah, there's all this loot. It's nice.
Okay, we got to get me home because I've got 1 cure left. And I did deliver a little bit of meds earlier on in the session, but we got to get home. At least it's not lethal. If it was lethal, I'd be racing against like a minute before I could recover. Since it's dread, I've only got 19.
No, yeah, I've lost a couple characters in my last couple sessions. It's been rough.
Yeah, I've had a couple like that too. Ones where it's like, you know, anytime I get comfortable at a particular difficulty level, that's when I get screwed over. It's like as soon as I start thinking, oh yeah, I can handle this. Oh, just 1 more plague heart, whatever. Plague heart's no big deal. The last 3 were so easy to kill. That's when getting cocky in this game is what gets you killed, because
that's what gets you killed.
The game is so random that basically what happens is the luck will go in your favor for a little while, and you will think you're better at the game than you are, and then the dice will suddenly dramatically turn against you, and let me turn left here. The dice will suddenly turn against you, and the game will suddenly get much... This is not where I thought I was turning. I thought I was on this road. That's what I thought I was doing, not driving into a ditch full of rocks. But yeah, the luck will turn against you, and then suddenly you're just in a different world than you were in before, and you're losing characters left and right, and it's a disaster.
Yeah, this game. That's what I love about this game. It's just game. You really, and you nailed it. Like you could literally just. I went like when I first started playing Lethal. I played so careful, and I went probably a year before I even lost a character. Then all of a sudden now I lose them all the time because you're just so confident. You're like, I can handle this. I've handled every scenario, and then something happens. You think, oh, I just got out of that. Next thing you know, you're getting attacked by triple feral and lethal, and you're dead.
Yeah, there's just nothing you can, and it's getting into that point where you you are overwhelmed, that you're out of your depth, and there's nothing you can do about it. Your car has exploded. You can't get. There's no obstacles nearby you can climb up onto that a feral can't climb up onto too. You don't have enough bullets. You don't You're just you're gonna die, but now you just have to walk through the process of slowly getting killed by these ferals.
Yeah.
It can be disheartening.
The magic of this game.
But it's also it's so evocative of the emotions that you sort of experience when you're watching a zombie TV show or something, where you'll see a character get into trouble and they're screwed, but they're still alive. And a lot of the horror of that experience is just seeing what it's like for them to realize they're dead, but they can't do anything about it. And that moment, it's less the jump scares and the gore. It's much more that sense of inevitability that the zombie the zombie world brings to you. That's what I think what makes State of Decay 2 as successful as it is at sort of recreating the feeling of the zombie apocalypse. It's a lot of stuff, but I think that's one of the things that just that feeling of, oh no, I'm overwhelmed and I can't do anything about it. I'm going to die and lose something forever. It's hard to make that feeling happen in a game, but I think this game nails it. And I get to brag on it because it was true in State of Decay 1, and I didn't make State of Decay 1.
Yeah, this game nails that perfectly. And like Elysion says, it's like a car crash in slow motion. I agree with him. And that's where the magic of these games are, where you won't get that experience. And I know every time I lose a character, I'm screaming at the top of my lungs. No, because you actually build a relationship with these characters in terms of like, you know, they have their names and they have their quirks, and you know, like for me, when I have my community, it's like this character is like my dedicated plague heart killer, and this character is like my dedicated loot character, and so you kind of build a you know, a love for your characters, and then when you lose them because you have them named and all that, it's just it's heartbreaking.
And you'll never get that same character back because of the procedural generation.
Yep, exactly.
So I should hit a couple of questions before we get out of here. So Brian Menard, of course, wants to hit you up for your mic settings. And I put this in the YouTube video from a couple of weeks ago, but I should say it out here. Brian Menard, who was our last guest a couple of weeks ago, I ruined his audio, and it is completely my fault. I accidentally, without being able to hear it myself when I was monitoring, I accidentally had a speaker playing his voice near a microphone, and so he was coming through echoing, and I had no clue that it was going on until afterwards, and I felt so bad because you know, yeah, he's complimenting your mic settings. His mic settings are pretty good, and his audio really sounds great, and I made him sound absolutely atrocious, and it was completely my fault. Please, if anyone skipped checking out Brian Menard's channel because I ruined his audio, go give him another shot, because he's great, and I caused a disaster that he didn't deserve. But your mic is amazing.
He's a professional. He's the best at what he does. He's better than all of us combined, pretty much. And so he has the utmost professional setup and everything. So yeah, that was all on Geoffrey for sure. So definitely go follow him, watch his channel.
Brian was also pointing out very helpfully that one of my characters has blood plague. He saw the notification, wanted to make sure I knew. I do know. Is that when I was doing prep, I got a character sick, and because I was worried that, like, because I had so few meds and so little cure, I was really worried that we were gonna like get somebody killed on the air because I just wasn't prepared. And so instead of curing this character, I just stuck her in the infirmary. So she's gonna be fine. She does have blood plague, but once I've got enough meds built up, I'll cure her and she'll be okay. Let's see here. So Heather, our mod, is out there trying to take partial responsibility for not notifying me that the echo was going on, but it is absolutely not her fault, because we've had a lot of people come on who just, their mic setup at home is just really, really bad, and we just had to roll with it, and there was no way for her to know that actually it was caused by me. So I don't blame anyone but myself. I should have run much better audio tests beforehand. And you saw, Sonny, when we started, the first thing I did was multiple audio tests to make sure that this was okay.
Yes, you did. Yes.
So finally, so we did have one question from Righteous Ham, who wanted to know if we could tell them the source of our skybox. And unfortunately, I am the wrong person to ask. So right now, you're not going to be able to see it very well because, of course, it's the middle of the night. It is a really nice night skybox, but we do have really gorgeous skyboxes in this game. And I can't remember. There is a piece of middleware that we use that if we had an artist, like if Brant was here, he could tell you exactly what we used to generate this skybox. I don't think that it's like a photo of a skybox from somewhere in the world, though. I think it is a generated skybox that an artist created using some dedicated tools that are all about making beautiful skyboxes. And if I could give you the exact details, I absolutely would, but I can't because I'm not an artist. So what we need to do is have more artists on this stream in the future. We've been kind of, skimping on that a little bit because, we've had so much work to do and it's been very overwhelming. And so we've been, we've been skimping on having a variety of different expertises represented on the stream. So we need to fix that. We need to get some more of our artists back on here. We need to get more audio people back on here. We need to get more programmers in here and talk with you all more about making games. So that's just a note for me. We'll keep that in mind.
Before the stream ended, I wanted to share one thing. I know Thanksgiving's coming up, and I kind of wanted to say something I was thankful for, and just wanted to give thanks to Undead Labs and the whole team over there, because you guys. I have no idea why I've been included and been reached out. I really am appreciative of it. I've dealt with other people in the gaming industry, and there's just not a nicer group of people. So I just wanted to thank you guys. But also the biggest is the community. I mentioned earlier that in 2016, I was diagnosed with cancer. I honestly wasn't sure if I was even going to be alive, and make it out. And this was my community on Sunny Games was the first community that really or one of the first communities that accepted me as a person and enjoyed my stuff. And so want to thank you to everybody, the community and Undead Labs, for kind of giving me that purpose of getting up and bringing out content and doing stuff that hopefully you guys enjoy. And I am beyond grateful because I really didn't know what I was going to do with myself in my life. I wasn't even sure if I was going to live. And so giving me that purpose has been such a thing that I never want to take for granted. I just want to thank everybody out there for, if you ever watch my stuff or just enjoying the stream. And yeah, that's just thank you to everybody. And of course, thank you again to Undead Labs. I can't believe you guys have included me in everything, but I'm so grateful for it. So just wanted to share that real quick.
Thank you so much. I have no idea how to follow that except to just thank you for all the good that you've done our community as a leader amongst the people who play State of Decay 2. It's been great having your voice out there, talking about the game, pushing this this discussion. The work that you do is really, really good, and we're lucky to have you.
Thank you.
And so, by the way, if anybody wants to find Sunny, he's at YouTube. He's Sunny Games YT. So go check him out. I'll also make sure to put a link at the very end of the video so that you can, if you're watching this later on YouTube, you can just go straight to subscribing to his channel. It's really, really good stuff, and we're happy to have you out there. We're happy to have you here with us today, and really appreciate it. And the final thing I should say is just a reminder, Update 35 is coming out. It's going to come out in early December. We don't have a specific release date for it yet, but it's going to be very early in December. So keep your eyes open for that, and go out there and definitely play the game in December. Go and call in that wizard van. Check out all of the outfits if you haven't got them already, especially those limited edition ones that we haven't seen for years. Go and do that because, Susan made all of that art. We really want you to be able to enjoy it. So go and do that. And yeah, I guess, thanks again, Sunny, for coming out here.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And I guess because it is 4:01, that means we're late. We should go. So stay frosty for our next stream. December 4th, Joe Swarner's going to be here, and he is going to be playing a bunch of bounty stuff for the Stay Frosty pack, which is our December pack. So go check out the bounty packs. They're going to, they expire every month, and new ones come in. And that's it.
So that State of Decay 3 secret stuff you were telling me,